Don't yell at me that's not recording.
Hey, how we doing?
How's it going?
This is Matt Smith with Fish and Tidewater. I'm sitting here with George Byers. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good, but it's night.
It's nighttime, yeah. Well, George used to be on the show with us all the time on Fish and Tidewater on the radio, so he's joining us tonight for the first episode of Bourbon Baits. That's right. I know you all been waiting. Tonight we're going to start off sipping a little bit of Woodford Reserve, made since 1812, down in Versailles, Kentucky. Nice, fine, smooth finish, more of a classier bourbon. So we're drinking it in these good old glasses right here. There you go, George. Have a sip.
It's a wine glass, dude.
Yeah, buddy. Well, you know, what do you got to do? Nice, smooth, oaky flavor.
Oh, yeah. Definitely not wine.
That's about as classy as it gets. So, really good bourbon, fine sipping bourbon. Sitting around having a drink.
What do you
with
mean
your buddies.
classy as it gets?
Well,
Look at that.
That's the other one. There you go. I'm smoking a Camacho bourbon-soaked cigar. Go along with this whole theme that we've got going on here. So we're talking about bourbons and we're talking about frogs. So George, you love throwing frogs?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Like Don the other day, I'm talking to Don, we're doing the last video we did, and his phone rings, he answers it in the middle of the whole thing, just like when he used to be on the air.
I was going to say, that wouldn't be no different. The show did to say hello.
So, anyway, I know we put a couple posts of pictures on the shots of the bourbon and the baits and things like that, and it's getting a crazy response. So we're going to keep doing this on a regular basis. We'll do this, talk about different baits each time, different bourbons each time. If you got favorites, just let us know, and we'll get those on here. But
we can do it every night if you want.
we can do this every night. So, not a problem. So it's coming into that time of year with top water's getting heavy. We did an episode the other day on top water fishing, all the alternatives to frogs. And then, you know, because frogs, there's just so many different kinds of frogs. There's the soft plastic frogs, there's the hard body frogs, the popping frogs, all sorts of stuff, whether you're walking them, what you're doing with them. So we're not really getting into branded designs or who makes what. But because we're not sponsored by anybody, so we're just going to talk about a variety of frogs. You know, throwing them into thick cover, doing whatever you need to do with them. So you've got everything from the original like jitterbugs, like these, that was set up as a frog, that type of bait on top. Other hard plastic frogs in various shades and colors and things like that as well, and the hard bodies. Live Target came out with the hard body popping frogs. And these are killer. I've been throwing this one. Love this bait. They got that. They've got a smaller size also. George, you like those Seville frogs, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're a little unique. Most frogs will have the two-hook design. Seville came out with really
Seville,
unique.
it's been 3 years now at the Bassmasters Classic in South Carolina. I think it was 3 years ago. And they were out testing these things. And it's a weighted hook, and it's actually on a swivel. So if you haven't seen them, check them out.
They come out that. Let's put that down right there. You can see that Seville, and the way that hook is loose in the back. So when they bite down, that hook pops up. But while you're throwing it, it's weighted, it keeps it down. Does a nice walk.
Oh, yes. And I'm going to get a few people mad, I'm sure, but that's life. My favorite is the plastic frog. You can do so much with this frog. It'll sink, it'll float.
You
got different sizes. You can do the little, which is another thing this time of year. People, everything's just getting born. It's little. It's not this big yet. Throw the little stuff first. Yes, every once in a while the big one will jump. But if you want numbers, downsize.
There's a company down in Carolina, Maverick Baits. They make these little guys. Captain Don's favorite pink pollywogs, or the green. But these are really tiny. You can see them next to my hand there. It's a real tiny frog. Early in the season, something
Captain
like that.
Reese, if you ever see this, if you happen to see this, Captain Reese, that's from Captain Don to you. There's your pink pollywog.
Yeah, pink pollywogs, okay? Doesn't have polka dots like Captain Don likes, but what are you going to do? So, but great baits, and again, all different styles, whether you have a pop in front, Got them with that pop in front on there, the little cup in the front. Different varieties have them, different brands have different type, whether they have a hard plastic cup or whether the plastic is just molded around the front. Or they've got a straight design in the front. Straight design on the body, like that, so you can walk them better. But another trick that everybody does will be cutting that tail. Cutting one of those sides so it looks more injured. It doesn't walk so perfect.
Yeah, so if you want it to go right or left, like Matt was saying, you just want to trim one side more than the other if you want to walk around the edge of a stump. A lot of guys cut these things short. I do too, because of strike problems. But plus, for the size of your bait. You know, if they're hitting big, giant bullfrogs, you know, like the ones, the legs we like, taste like chicken. And you can leave them that way, but most of us cut them. And even the body, you're, say 70% of the time, I would say your smaller bait, your soft ones like this. This type right here looks more like a salamander, which is between that and the bluegill come and spawn, and that's the enemy of what you're going to catch.
These are really cool. These are set up here. I'll use the lighter color one so you can see a little bit better. But they're a great bait. You can cut these off. When they come to you, you get them. They have really long feet on the front and back. And then you can trim them whatever way you want. And what happens, you're putting your offset hook in these like you would a swim bait or anything else. So you can weight them or you can let them just go like that on top. But you can trim them down. If a bass grabs the leg by itself and pulls it out, you're just taking a skirt and feeding it back through. So you can change the color combinations on the bodies to whether you want a light green, a dark green, a purple, a blue, a pink, whatever you want for those feet, just by pulling them out and reattaching them. So you're inserting a offset hook into those and fish them like you would anything else. This one
is for real.
Is about the most realistic frog.
Well, it is. Matt got that out of the ditch a little while ago.
I just caught this guy and hooked him. Now, this is actually Paul Crew Customs makes this guy. And you put a little weight on the front of this and drop this down, and it just goes to the bottom with those feet floating up as long as they are. And I've used them till the feet get bit off on one leg or on the other, and they just keep going. They just keep going. It's awesome bait. So, different styles like that. How's that bourbon sitting, George?
It's doing pretty good. I've been switching off and on.
Have you?
So, yeah, I'm not sure which is what now, but I'm looking for that fancy one with the spinning feet.
Spinning feet, where'd he go? Prop frog?
Yeah, the prop frog.
Where'd we put him?
I don't know. I think he may have got left inside.
No way. Oh, here he is.
Oh, there he is. There you go.
This is a Lunker Hunt new prop frog they came out with.
And the feet spin. They're hard plastic, and as slow as you move it forward, it's also got a, I don't know if y'all can see, but it's got a trailer hook right in the middle there.
George talks about frogs. He starts talking like Kermit. So
that's right. But that's by whom, Matt?
That's a Lunker Hunt prop frog.
All right.
Savage
also
Gear
make the prop ducks, the prop turtles.
Savage Gear makes the ducks and stuff.
I'm wrong.
And then Lunker Hunt came out with these guys. And they got the double hooks on them. Then they got a trailer hook back there between the feet. And then they came out with prop turtles.
He told y'all we weren't sponsored, so I don't know.
So we can mix things up if we have to. So, but that's a really cool bait. You can pull it really slow. Live Target has a big variety of frogs out there. And this one's got his foot stepped on by my bourbon. But that's a bullfrog pattern in a larger and a smaller size. Great baits, real soft. Hold up forever. This one's gotten eaten a bunch of times and holds up really well. And then to mix it up a little bit, Live Target came out with a frog like this that actually has back feet. And I ran into a guy one day that had just bought these things, loved his bait, threw it out there the first time, and as soon as it hit the water and he started swimming it, a big old turtle came up and bit the leg off. So he didn't even get to throw it more than once without, with both feet on the thing, because the turtle came up to eat him. So
even turtles think it tastes like chicken.
There you go. Mollix has a crankbait. That's a soft crankbait. It's a soft body. It's got the tail, dual hooks like a regular soft-bodied frog, but that'll take it down below the water. So good variety whether you're dealing with a popping frog, a frog that's going to walk the dog. That one's gone, I see. Sometimes you want that frog to get down underwater, not on the top, and you got, a fish are down below and you want to get down there a little bit. Well, the Dahlberg frog has this very unique
Yep.
blade.
And that's from
attached.
river to sea, right?
Yep. So you got the back feet, and they give you extra feet to go in with it and all like that. But this frog, you toss it out, it'll work the top. But as you start bringing it in, that blade will take it down, and then that's your weedless setup right there. But this gets clear in the water, and then this will go right down, and you can bounce this along the bottom or whatever depth you want to take that frog to, so that frog that's a little more curious than just one that's hanging out
I
on
like
top.
that. And he's also the guy with the whopper plopper.
So, good stuff there. You can get cheap varieties of frogs. These are at Dick's. That's a Dick's brand, Jack something. But there's a soft-bodied frog. I forget what the heck the name is on those.
I'm not sure, but you can
But
spend
again,
cheap to really high dollar.
and get
And it all
similar
boils
effects.
down to, I really think, how you use it.
Yep.
Because it's like the Sebile. This hook acts like a rudder. And this is probably one of the best walking frogs I have used.
Yeah, absolutely.
It will walk with the very least. You don't even have to do a loop knot for it or a split ring. And it's just so easy to walk. Doesn't make a big splash. And, you know, sometimes I run up on these guys that, man, I can't catch nothing on the top water. And you go by and watch them, and they're actually making a splash big enough that it almost looks like my fat butt jumped in the water. And,
That's a big splash.
And that's a big splash. And sometimes the most minute little movement will get that fish to go where, you know, some of these frogs have the popper. Sometimes popping works. But I think the biggest majority of the time is the finesse with the frog gets them up through there.
Yep. You see people go out and they just constantly twitch and twitch and twitch and twitch and twitch,
Yep.
bring them back in.
Never giving it a
Never
break.
seen a frog do that. You know, a frog's going to swim a little bit, stop, let his back feet slowly drop down, then he'll keep swimming a little bit more, you know. And a lot of times, I know when I started out frog fishing, that was the hardest thing for me. Throw it out there, let it sit, and wait for those rings to disappear, because when it hits the water, it's attracting the fish. They're looking, what was that? And they start coming up, and they're just sitting there. And you start moving it too fast, and they just, you know, that's not what's happening. So sometimes you want to buzz it back across the top, and a bait like these, Stank X, Next Level Customs.
Yes.
He,
Or Zoom
Travis
horny
Crossman
toads.
from
or,
Stank X, he does these things. Unbelievable finishes. The Rad Gill around here in Hampton Roads, Virginia, Rad Gill is an awesome bait. They just take off on you, catch a ton of fish. So all different ways of bringing them in, whether you're going to bring them in slow, and you got to vary it and see what they're hitting on, you know. But a good way to do it, to figure out your cadence so you don't get in a rut and just do 3 twitches, 3 twitches, 3 twitches. Do your phone number. Just think the phone number, you know. Do 7 twitches and stop, let it rest. Then your next number is a 9. Do 9, then stop. Then nothing. Give it a break for 5 or 6 seconds. Then do a 4 or a 3. It forces you to mix up that cadence and make it look more realistic than a 3-3-3, 3-3-3. You know, you want to get that right pattern going down. So.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. No offense, you guys, with your, stick baits and stuff. There's no way in the wintertime that I can go out and twitch, and sit for 30 seconds, and twitch, and sit for 30 seconds. I know the Rattling Rogue and the Rapala and all those are really good baits this time of year, but I absolutely cannot sit there for 30 seconds,
Yeah.
which seems like 30 minutes.
Up until this point, the bass have been tearing up suspended jerk baits and things like that. It's still a little cold. They're coming back into action, still pre-spawn and everything. And the first bait that's really going to take effect is going to be that suspended jerk bait, where you can twitch it a few times, get it to a certain depth. If it's a surface twitch bait, you're going to get it down about a foot, foot and a half, and then let it slowly come back up. Or you're going to sit there and use a suspending jerk bait that's going to take it down a little further. Whatever works best, and until you find the conditions and the depth that they're at. But nothing like it. And having the patience to do that wait and let that bait just sit, because those fish are staring at it. I actually had some a couple weeks ago that came up and actually blew on the bait like they do in the spawning when they're in a bed, and they puff at it with the water to make it get out. They were doing that in the top water, which was crazy. But now you're coming into the water's warming up a little bit. It starts hitting 50, 55, and you're going to start seeing some great topwater action. Further north, yeah, it doesn't wait to that temperature. But in this area and stuff like that, once it hits about 50, 55, it starts firing up.
And I know some of our friends up there in Pennsylvania and stuff are looking at us outside here and thinking, yeah, you're freezing. Sorry about your 3 feet of snow up there, guys. I think you're getting some more this weekend, though.
Yeah, another piece of that storm's coming through, so be safe up there.
So if you want to use a frog up there, the Zabeel has a
icebreaker on
a hook that, like I was telling you, has a rudder to it, so that'll help guide it through the ice. So I guess before I get home, I'll have a lot of nasty grams.
That's all right.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm tired of hearing from our people down in Florida how nice it is. At least let us have a little bit of, teasing somebody a little farther up north.
We're midway. We're sitting here in Virginia and Hampton Roads making this video. So, yeah, it's a little cool tonight, but not so bad. It's been worse. So
yeah, it's been really bad. And, hey, guys, if y'all have had it up north, come on down here and we'll take you fishing somewhere.
All right.
Y'all know how to get in touch with me and Matt.
That Woodford Reserve was really nice. It was a nice finish on it. Really good bourbon. This next one that we've got sitting here is a small batch that Knob Creek does. Small Knob Creek smoked maple. You bacon fans out there are going to love this bourbon. It's like drinking a piece of bacon.
Yeah.
Actually,
Actually, we had a suggestion earlier that this would be great mixing with pancake batter.
who would do that? Maybe pour a little on top.
If you smell it, you would be thinking probably the same thing. It smells like breakfast pancakes with maple syrup on it.
You go to Dunkin' Donuts, you dip your your donut in the coffee. You make pancakes, dip them in some Knob Creek smoked bacon, smoked maple. That's what we do.
Or you do better, as we decided. Just pour a little bit in your morning coffee and eat your pancakes with it.
Yep. And these are really neat. We're going to show you these. I just got these. These are our bourbon cigar glasses. See that they're cut out? You put your cigar right there and you're good to go. So, life is good. So we got Knob Creek and we got Woodford Reserve tonight. We found a couple bourbon distilleries that are not too far away, so we're going to contact them and see if they'll actually let us film on site. This is high-tech camera work here. We got a phone propped up looking at us right now. That's how high-tech we are. So it's a pretty easy setup to do anywhere we go. But
sitting on top of a toolbox.
Yeah, the phone is sitting on top of a toolbox. So that's high-tech. But this is good bourbon, way up at the higher end from what we're used to. So, so we're sitting back. It's that time of year. We're getting ready. Everybody's getting a little too anxious to go fishing. Get out there, and we're trying things. We got out there last week or the week before, and they were fired up. They were hitting some baits.
He did.
I did.
We did. He did.
Winds were 35 miles an hour, but they were hitting. It was a beautiful thing. So it's starting. The water's starting to warm up in our area. Top water's going to kick in. The frogs are going to become real popular, real effective for you this time of year. And then once the spawning starts, you'll know you're throwing jigs and you're dropping things and things like that in there. So different styles, different colors. Color patterns, it's all about what they can see from underneath. You can got all different backs on these things, all different colors on the back, bright oranges,
Most
reds,
of that is for
blacks,
us to see.
Blacks, yellows. It's you never know what's going to fire them up. Not necessarily an orange frog, but your greens, your blues, your different colors on them. They're all different patterns on them. The colors will make a difference, whether it's a cloudy day or a sunny day, or the water's stained or the water's clear. And how you fish them, how fast you fish them, things like that. Some of them, like these have an inline buzz bait on them. You got the topwater frog, soft plastic frog, that the back feet are going to act like a buzz, but then you got a small blade on the front of them with the float behind it to keep them right on top so you can slow it down. Other brands, like this pink pollywog, the back feet are replaceable, so when they get tore up and taken out, you can slide another set of back feet.
What is that, just a grub?
No, it's actual feet that come with the frog that are designed for the frog.
Okay.
And you can mix up different colors. Like you got a green one with some red feet. You can put black feet. You can put pink feet. You can put yellow feet. Whatever you want to do to mix up the color patterns. So you'll get different things. At night, frogs are still out there. I fished last year. We were fishing in the spring at night, and I couldn't hear myself think from all the peeping frogs and barking frogs and all the other stuff that was out there. But you'd be surprised, in the middle of the night, pitch black,
Yep.
Pitch black, because they're looking against the moon or they're looking against whatever
Or
up
a
above.
cloudy day, black is
Yep.
wonderful also.
It's creating that shadow that they're looking at from underneath. So,
Or even you go to some of these clear lakes where these guys are fishing all this clear stuff and things like that, and they haven't really seen a dark black. You know, I've gone in with a 8-inch or what Al's 12-inch black worm in a clear lake and
I think
caught
he's
more
compensating
fish.
for something.
Al, that wasn't me, dude.
No, Al's good people. He
You owe
always
him
fishing with us. So, Captain Don's sitting this episode out tonight. He's not a big bourbon drinker, like George here.
Anymore.
Keep up. But we're just looking to have a little fun with this. So talk about baits, talk about some bourbons. Fired up. Everybody sent us pictures of their bourbon collections. I thought that was great. We posted our first video about a month and a half ago on YouTube, and we used to be on the radio all the time. Everybody tuned in there. But with the Facebook page for Fishing Tidewater, we're posting the links on that to the YouTube channel. And this is new for us. We're just playing around with this kind of thing, see where it goes. But like a fine chef pairs his wine with his dish, we're going to pair these bourbons with different baits throughout the year.
And don't anybody fret. If we do morning shows, there will be donuts and biscuits.
Yeah. Or
This
pancakes.
is an
Pancakes
evening thing.
to dip in our
Yeah.
smoked maple bourbon. Forget the donuts. We'll be getting pancakes with our smoked maple bacon. So Knob Creek has got a lot of different varieties. They make small batch bourbons, things like that. Woodford Reserve has different bourbons, rye along those lines as well. Good Kentucky bourbons. And I'm real happy with these two, George.
Yeah, actually, they're really good. Really good. First time I'd actually heard of them. I'm sorry. I'm usually other brands.
Gentleman Jack?
Yeah, Gentleman Jack, Maker's Mark, something like that. So I've never really been introduced to these, and they are really good. They got a good smooth taste to them. Definitely a good sipping. As I've gotten older, I've realized that I think it was mostly the chasers that made me sick.
Probably.
So, you know, you have a couple on the rocks, and that's it. And
So you don't want to kill these. You want to get some whiskey rocks or something like that. If you
No,
like your bourbon chilled,
yeah.
whiskey rocks or something like that that sit in the bottom of a glass. Don't dilute your bourbon. You don't want to fill it up with a bunch of ice cubes and let it dilute, because now you're drinking a totally different drink. So you finesse bourbon guys out there, I'm sure you can educate us on some other things. If you have a bourbon that you like, you want us to check out and try, let me know. We'll go buy it and try it out and post it on here, okay? What else, George? What else you got to
Absolutely.
say about frogs?
Nothing much. I mean, we hit the hard, we hit the soft, we hit the pretty much
Buzzbait
all.
types.
I'm sure there's guys out there with more little techniques and little nits and things like that they do to them. Send in your compliments, your complaints, your suggestions, hey, whatever you want to send in. It doesn't matter. This time of year, like we were saying, though, you want to make sure you give that little one a try, especially to these lakes. When these fish go on the beds, like there'll be 9 million tournaments on the Chickahominy River when the fish go on the beds. You'll come up behind guys. I just want people to remember something that's been forgotten for years as a walker, as a popper, as a frog, as a bait fish, is your little popper. Your little poppers. This right here will probably get you your biggest fish ever, especially all of our lakes and most of our bodies of water, unless you know somebody with a farm pond, are pressured to no extent. Make sure you have that little popper. Go out there and use it and experiment with it. Make it pop. Make it walk. Make it just sit there and do nothing.
Sometimes you got to wake them up and just whack that thing.
They're really good. Your buzz baits, like Matt had one inline buzz bait there, represents, like you said, a frog is going to scoot across the water. It's not going to sit there in sun or whatever unless it's on the top of a pad, and it might sit there for a little bit. But not if something's chasing it. Your smaller buzz baits with your smaller blades, your 1/4 ounces, they're good. This time of year, when you come behind somebody fishing look at what they're fishing. If they're plopping in their big jig they saw on TV last weekend all around the tree, come in behind them with a little one. You know, sometimes they'll get upset with you because you're going to catch the fish, but that's part of life. You live and learn.
Almost every bait that's out there, you can get your favorite colors, and everybody has their favorite colors. But
Yep.
every bait is made in various sizes, larger or smaller. Like I said before, the live target soft frogs, larger, smaller. You never know what they're going to hit. Sometimes that smaller bait, they're just looking for a
Where's
smaller
that
meal.
inline one you had?
Inline ones right here.
Yeah, see those, like those inline ones there? There's a little frog. That's got a little floater on it, so you can sit, that'll keep it on top of those pads as you go over top of it.
Early in the morning or late at night, starting to get dark, you don't
Yep.
have to stop fishing. There's that black one right there. And these are great because you can pull that hook out, put a different color, mix these
Yep.
up with a chartreuse frog and a black bait or what you want to get some contrast so they really notice it.
And absolutely, when you go from that group of pads to a small little group of pads, you got that little buzzbait blade to make a little more than, you know, than maybe what the legs will make at that time.
Sometimes what they need is just dip them. Just the tip of their back feet, like you would dip them in a color contrast or garlic. Sometimes the smoky maple bacon, smoky maple bacon
Smoky maple bacon.
is the way to go. So
So I guess Spike It will have that as their new dip now, is smoky maple bacon.
that'll do it.
Say that about 3 times after drinking the smoky maple bacon.
All right. So thanks for checking this out, checking this video out. Send us some ideas, and we'll see what we can do for the next one. But we're having fun with this, and that's what it's all about. Fishing is fun. There's a lot of technique to it. There's a lot of science behind it, but certainly not with us.
It's all fun. It's all about having a good time. It's all fun. You don't need $60,000 bass boat or a $50,000 truck. You don't need all this stuff. You can go out and get these little things and a little spinning rod. Walk around the lake. If you're going to walk around the lake, a spinning rod's probably your best bet. 6.5, 7 foot rod you can cast out into the middle of the lake with a big worm, or you can change these frogs. You can do an abundance of things with that spinning rod out there. Next time I'm trying to talk Matt into this, to breaking out some of them ducks, rats, and turtles.
There you go. Next time we'll do that. We'll do creatures. You know, we got the
There
savage
you go.
ducks, we got the bats, we got the turtles, we got the prop frogs, we got mice, rats, all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, snakes, 10-inch, 12-inch snakes. They eat them. They're living on them.
That's right.
We got the bats, and I had to get them because if you know me, I got to get the crazy stuff. But I was talking to some people and saying, when would they eat a bat? Well, the bats are hanging out under all these bridges, and they do occasionally fall in, and they get eaten. And these bats have a great crawling action on them, too. So we'll get into all those maybe the next time. We'll pull out Evan Williams honey bourbon or something like that. We'll do some of that and have another session on a different type of bait. So mix it up a little bit. Have fun with it. That's what it's all about. If you walk in the banks, start casting 20 yards from the bank. You don't know if those fish are sitting right there. You know, so take your first cast while you're pretty far back before you walk up on the edge and your silhouette scares them off. You know, because then they get a little bit wary. So as you're walking up, cast out there, hit that first 3 or 4 feet of water, and then see what happens. In your boat, you're going out there to throw right into the shallow, right? So
Absolutely.
when you're walking up on the bank, it's the same thing.
Especially this
Toss
time
out
of
there.
year. But don't hesitate to go a little deeper, because they all, like on the Chickahominy River, I could be considered a river rat as 30-some years up there, that the fish just don't spawn all at one time on that river. They will spawn until the water reaches a certain temperature every full and every new moon. Go out and check them out, see what you can. You know, this is our time. This is your time for big fish. Get out now, get them moving on the beds before the tournaments start rolling in every weekend.
All right, we had fun with this. Thanks for tuning in, George. Been a pleasure, sir.
Hey
Sampling
man,
bourbons and
it's been great to come back. Sorry the seat's been empty for so long, but
We've been
maybe
off the
it's
air.
good for y'all that it was.
We've been off the air for a couple of years. We're getting back into this, so we appreciate you tuning in and checking us out. Y'all have a good night.